Hi everybody, this is Bill Stevens at Thompson Street Customs in Denver, Colorado, and we're going to bring you up to date on the Kendall Custom 67 Mustang. In our previous episode, we showed you how the body and the chassis came together on this project, and there's still a lot of work left to do in that area, but today it's all about the outrageous power plant, the twin turbocharged Ford Coyote V8. So if you're ready, let's head right now into the titanium garage. We're here at Thompson Street Customs in Denver, Colorado, and I'm with the two top members of the Thompson team. This is Robert Thompson Sr., his son Robert Thompson Jr., better known as Cope, and a lot has happened since we were here last time with the Kendall Custom Resto Mod Mustang, not the least of which the engine which now sits in the engine bay and not the original engine that we had planned on having in this car. What's happened?
Well, we wanted to go with something a little bit more powerful, so just using a factory Coyote motor just probably wasn't going to cut it. The way the car looks, it already looks like it's going fast just sitting here. Now it's got the muscle to back it up, so it's not just all talk.
Well, I got to admit, we had a conversation the last time we were here about the engine. We thought maybe 435 horsepower isn't going to be enough in this day and age in a resto mod, and so twin turbocharging seemed to be the best logical solution to that. Who was responsible for the turbos being mounted on the engine?
John at VI Engineering is the one we wanted to go with, just based on, again, using him in the past and his attention to detail when it comes to welding and building these parts. All the stuff that's done on this car is all built from scratch. There's no kit, nothing you could buy to just bolt on. So he has to come up with everything off the top of his head like we do, and he was just the perfect one to go with for this project.
It really does look good, and I'm so impressed not only with the turbochargers being mounted so beautifully, the welding on it is just fabulous, but the entire exhaust system now has been attached to the chassis of the car, and it looks like a jeweler did it. Really impressive.
John's known for that. You know, he takes his time and does everything the way it's supposed to be, and the welds look amazing.
There certainly has been a lot of excitement surrounding the Kendall Custom project ever since the decision was made to add twin turbochargers to the Coyote 5-liter engine. And John Vigil of VI Engineered right here in Denver, not far from Thompson Street Customs, is the man responsible for what you see right here. Give us a little background, John, about your shop. Well, what do you guys specialize in? How long have you been doing it?
We specialize in turbocharging V8s, 6-cylinders and 4-cylinder vehicles. We do a lot of twin turbo Corvettes, a lot of twin turbo Mustang projects. We're pretty much a shop all about making horsepower.
Okay, you started with a 435 horsepower Coyote 5-liter engine, crate engine if you will. What was the first thing you did when you got the engine into the shop?
Well, we looked at what we had for space constraints, and we realized in a hurry that there was not a lot of space, so we developed a header system that would basically fit inside the chassis and the frame rails and still have enough room to put a turbocharger system that's going to be efficient for what the drivetrain is.
Turbocharged engines need a lot of fuel. You don't want them to lean out because then you got big trouble. So what did you do to make sure that this engine will get adequate fuel to it?
So what we're doing is we're going to be doing a 16-gallon fuel cell that's actually handmade out of aluminum. It's baffled, got a twin Walbro 450 fuel pump system that's in tank, so it stays relatively quiet, supplies enough fuel to the engine. We're going to be running -8 feed line, -8 return line, so we have plenty of fuel going to and from, so we can support the kind of power we want to run.
Here's the magic question everybody wants to know the answer to. When this engine is all finished, what kind of horsepower are we talking about?
Well, it'll put down 12 to 1,300 horsepower, and we'll scale it back to about 1,000 for street use to keep it nice and safe.
12 to 1,300. I think that's enough. There it is, the 5-liter Coyote twin turbocharged 1,200 horsepower engine here in the Kendall Custom. And as you said, that is tight. It's amazing that you were able to get all of this engine and plumbing and everything else into this little engine compartment.
Everything on this car is brand new. Everything on it's aftermarket. There's a lot of test fitting, and that requires taking a lot of stuff off, putting a lot of stuff back on. And then when we put it back together the final time after everything's painted, that's the longest process because you know you got to be careful with everything, especially in such a tight quarter.
One thing that's great about this engine is it does have a low profile. And you mentioned earlier when we were just talking about the whole process of adding more horsepower to this engine. You wanted to go with a different intake, but found that it would not allow you to keep that flat hood.
Yes, we were talking to Borla about putting a different fuel injection on this, but it's just a little bit too high, and I don't want to have to cut the hood to make everything fit.
Yeah, it's sort of the way with custom cars is when you modify one thing, you're modifying 2 to 3 more things just to make that one thing fit.
Guys, anytime you talk about a high-performance engine, especially a turbocharged one, you got to talk about the lubricant that goes into it, especially on this engine, fresh engine. The tolerances are very tight right now until this engine gets some use, and these turbochargers generate so much heat, and the oil helps to cool them, so you better have the right oil in here.
Yeah, that's why on this project we used the Kendall motor oil GT1 Max with the liquid titanium specifically for this build because of the turbos, because of the heat that it's going to generate.
Yeah, and once again, these turbochargers spin at sometimes 300,000 RPMs, a tremendous amount of heat generated, and the oil helps cool them. And the biggest reason for failure in a turbocharged engine is lack of lubrication. Turbo bearings get burned up and you're having to replace everything. So the oil is important.
The liquid titanium actually bonds to those components and adds another layer of protection, so that's the perfect oil for this application.
Well, we have come a long way with the Kendall Custom 67 Mustang, but yet there's a long way to go. In fact, right now, Robert Sr. and Jr. are behind me getting to work on the next phase of the project. Now, we showed you a lot of information on the engine and the work it took to get it into the car, and also on all the body modifications that are necessary. Next time we see you, well, we'll be putting the finishing touches on the project as the Kendall Custom nears completion. That's next time on Titanium Garage.